This is Dale Calvert. I'd like to welcome you to the first of many webinars that we're going to be conducting for members of the Network Marketing Magazine and the 27 Percenter Success Platform membership. Guys, I appreciate you being with us. This month, the first month, we're going to talk about programming your mind for success, which has really been the theme throughout all the lessons up to this point. Of course, we're going to get into a lot of techniques for creating customers and relaunching your business, and a lot more in future months. But this month, I believe, is the foundation on which you build. And next month, we may do live question and answers for members. We may do a live webinar where, again, we want you to have the opportunity to ask questions along this path, along this journey that we're all going on together, and just want to make sure people are really we're communicating the concepts and ideas to a point where you're motivated to really monitor your self-talk and really internalize these wisdom of the ages principles. So again, this month, first month, we're going to get into programming your mind for success. I know some of you have gone through our huge course. It's about, I don't know, 10, 12 hours of information from myself and some of the top brain cell pattern, psychological development, mindset trainers in the world. A lot of very intelligent people. Some of you have already gone through this. So those of you that have, this is just going to be kind of a review, but it always helps. I know many of you haven't. So again, I want to welcome each one of you. I so appreciate you being part of this platform, part of the movement. Uh, deciding, hey, I'm going to be the leader that I know I can be. I'm going to help people at a level that will really impact their life and their business. And I just so appreciate you being here and being with us. So the let's get into the information that I want to share with you in this webinar. As I said earlier or at other times, there's absolutely nothing that I will ever be able to share with members of the 27% Success System platform, you guys, or the world that's more important than this. It's just the foundation on which everything that we try to communicate. This is the rock. This is the foundation on which I depend upon and have seen make such huge impacts, not just in different areas of my life, but for a lot of people that we've worked with over the years. There's no question that my biggest challenge is a lot of people will tend to think, well, Dale, yeah, I've heard that before. Or, yeah, I get that. Or, Dale, yeah, I understand. Yeah, I've bought into it. Or other people will say, well, that's just mind stuff. Show me how to sponsor somebody. And again, the reactions, the different reactions over the years that I've heard, they're the same. They're the same. It's just different times, different place, different people in history. I can tell you without question that this information is the most important piece of the puzzle. And when I say the puzzle, I'm speaking to life, but without question, the network marketing business model for 27 percenters, which many of you identify yourself as, and for the 27 percenters on your team. Nothing would have happened for me if I had not discovered this and accepted it at an early age. And again, many of you know I started in a little 600 square foot house driving a beat up Chevette. This is the actual home. This is a framed picture that actually hung it right here in my office of my home years later. And the one thing I wanted to share today is right here, there's a brass plaque that I had made and placed on this picture. and the plaque says never forget. That's all it says. Never forget. And I know the path that I came down, and because of that, I know that if I can do it, anybody can. Because again, I've worked with a lot of different people over the years that I've watched come down the same path of programming their mind for the right things, for what they want, and eliminating thoughts about that which they don't want. Here's Mike Patillo, who worked for me today. At the time of this recording, he's Director of Sales and Marketing Vice President at a company called It Works, which I know we have some It Works members that are part of the 27 Percenter Success Platform. This guy is Roger Wagers. Roger um, was an electrician. Some of you may have heard his story on our MLM No Fluff podcast. It's session 17. And if you haven't heard it, I would highly recommend that you listen to Roger's story, because his path is the path that many of you are coming down. It absolutely is. So the reality is, I believe in systems more than probably anybody on the face of the earth as it relates to network marketing, because systems that can be duplicated are crucial to build teams of people. And again, if nothing else, franchises have proven that to us. I mean, I can pull up to a Starbucks drive-through here in Atlanta, or in Kentucky, or in Dallas, or in New Hampshire, or in Connecticut, or in Las Vegas, and they're going to say the same thing. They're going to say, "Welcome to Starbucks. What can we get started for you today?" Why do franchises take those types of approaches? There was a time, a few years ago, when every time you ordered anything at a fast food restaurant, they would say, "Would you like to supersize that?" There's scripts. Why? Because that's what duplicates. Personality, individual personality, drive, work ethic, credibility is not duplicatable. Only systems can duplicate. And that's what we've done really over the last 15, 20 years, working with a lot of companies and six-figure earners, helping them systemize the core fundamentals of their business so they can teach to their team, and their team can teach to others, who can teach to others, who can teach to others. As I'm going through this, I just remembered a webinar that would probably be very valuable. It's called The Lost Secret to Network Marketing Success. We'll try to put it in the platform here somewhere. I'm not sure if the developers can do that, but the domain, the website is mlmhelp.com/secret, I believe, or it might be dalecalvert.com/lost. But if you go to mlmhelp.com, mlmhelp.com, and in the search box put lost secret, I know it'll pop up there for you. And I'd recommend that you take a look at it. So again, you don't create business growth by just learning better techniques, systems, or marketing ideas. They're very important. You grow by expanding your vision of yourself. Are the systems right now available to you? Well, yes, we've made public every system, and we have tweaked the systems over the years as technology has provided more ways to grow our businesses. But the foundational systems, the five core systems, are the five core systems, which you'll be discovering them all here as we go through this over the next few months. But the systems alone, the hacks, the funnels, don't create success. When you reprogram your limiting beliefs about money, Some people have bad beliefs about money. When you reprogram your limiting beliefs about money, failure, fear of rejection, fear of success, that really is the neglected secret to this profession. You know, if you think money is the root of all evil, and that's really a true foundational belief, then you're probably going to have struggles and challenges creating a lot of money. And by the way, that's not what it says. It says the love of money is the root of all evil. And again, it's getting real clear about who you are, what are your beliefs, what are your limiting beliefs, and how can you change those? How can you truly change those? And some of you have heard my story, but those of you that haven't, um, I worked at IBM in Lexington, Kentucky. This is IBM and aerial shot right here. And when I got hired there, everybody, all my friends, relatives, family said, Dale, you've got it made. You're with a great company. Stay there, work hard. Great things are ahead of you. And I bought in. At that time, you know, I had multiple different jobs. I was going to school at night, and I'd worked in tool and die and done a lot of different things. And I was doing a lot of magic. Some of you know I was a semi-professional magician. And, you know, so I decided I'm going to go, I'm going to clean up my act, I'm going to stay focused, I'm going to dedicate myself and see what I could do. And I got two quick promotions, but I found myself in a situation. I was at what they call a level 17 job. You you join in, hire in at a level 15, and then the next level would be a level 16, and then a level 17. And I was at a level 17 job, and unfortunately, so were about 70% of the, I don't know, 9,000 people that worked in that plant. So basically, you have 70% competing for the next promotion. And it's not real fun uh, going into work every day, you know, realizing you're competing with 70% there and hoping, well, maybe one of my coworkers here will kick the bucket to give me better odds or whatever. It's just not a really good environment. At least it wasn't for me. And most people that got to level 17 jobs, that's how they spent the majority of their career at IBM. And I had had a pretty bad attitude prior to IBM. I cleaned it up, but the frustrations of thinking about getting up every day and coming into this environment and being around a lot of people that act like they're 12 years old, and just the adolescence that I was surrounded with, and the people that accepted the fact that they were going to be here the rest of their life, it was disheartening for me. I would ask people that had been there 10, 15 years and hated it, you know, why are you still here? You know, and they would all say, well, I'm not going to stay here. Me and my brother, and they all had some plan for some business that they were going to start someday. Someday. Earlier, in one of the coaches' corner, we talked about wistful regret. And I didn't understand that concept then when I was at IBM and asking this question, but I do today. And there's no doubt that many of those people that I talked about that had big plans of someday I'll are now probably in a state of wistful regret, are definitely headed that way. And then I would ask other people that have been there, you know, 20, 22, 23, 24, 25 years. And I would say, you've been here 25 years. You can't stand it. Why are you still here? And they would look with this far off look in their eyes and they would say, well, Dale, I only have 5 more years to retirement. And I realized real early that I've got to do something different. and I started looking for different businesses, buying magazines, home business magazines. It wasn't called Home Business. Income Opportunities was the name of the magazine, and I started sending away for everything and just looking for a way out. And I was serious about it. And my attitude, I was getting into trouble with my attendance and different things. And, I got wrote up once and then I got wrote up again. And then instead of getting wrote up the third time, they said, Dale, we're sending you to the employee awareness class. And I said, well, what's that? And it said, it's just a week class, a week long class. And they said, this is where you need to report on Monday and you'll be there for a week. And I worked over here. I started over here on third shift, and one of my promotions at the time I was over here in the 900 building, they called it. And they sent me right down here. I call it the basement. And I was in there with about 30 other people uh, with at all different levels in the company. Some executives, uh, white collar and blue collar, all in mixed together. And it didn't take me too long to figure out is this is where they send people that don't have the best attitudes in the world and are maybe very, very career frustrated. And the first day, that morning, they showed a film strip. Some of you remember the old film strip projectors. And they showed a film strip, and it was the story of IBM and how Tom Watson started it and how great the company was and how much of an impact they made on different communities all over the world and how everyone who works at IBM should be uh, uh, thankful that they've got such a great job with great benefits and so on and so forth. And everything they said was true. It was true, but if you're miserable, it didn't really matter as far as I was concerned. And so they showed us a couple of film strips, and then they had one of the executives come in, and then another executive come in, and then we had finally a lunch break. It was like the longest morning of my life. And so I went out for lunch with uh, a guy that I'd met there who'd been there uh, 18 years, and he was at a level 17 job as well. He was in molding, where they molded the frames for the typewriters. I was on the assembly line, the last final touch of the assembly line, the high end. And anyway, we came back after lunch, and the instructor had a big boom box on his desk, and he went to this cabinet and he pulled out an audio cassette, 6 audios, and it was some guy I'd never heard of named Zig Ziglar. And he reached in the tape manual and he pulled out one and he said, we're going to listen to one of these every afternoon after lunch. And he pushed play. And I heard a voice that was more country than mine. And the first things out of his mouth was, you are where you are in your life because of what's gone into your mind. And the only way to change where you are is to change what goes into your mind. And I mean, it slapped me emotionally at a level that I can't explain because that was true. And I could say, well, no, it's this and it's that and it's my ex-girlfriend and it's, but he was true. It was true. Uh, I went through kind of some tough teenage years and a couple automobile wrecks, and it was just kind of crazy. And he slapped me in the face, and I needed it. And you are where you are in your life because of what's gone into your mind. The only way to change where you are is to change what goes into your mind. And I listened intently to every word that came after that because I knew this guy knew what he was talking about. So, to make a long story short, during the break that afternoon, I went up to the instructor and I said, I need to borrow those audios. And he said, what? I said, I need to borrow them. I just want to take them home and I'll bring them back tomorrow. And he said, young man, this is official IBM property and it's not allowed off IBM premises. And I said, no, you don't understand. I have to have them. Well, young man, I can find out where you can purchase them. I said, you don't understand. I have to have them, and I have to have them tonight, and I will promise you I'll bring them back. Young man, this is official. I said, look, you have a choice. I'm going to be down here a week. You can let me borrow them tonight, or they're going to be missing before this week is over. And he looked at me like, no wonder you're down here. And so he made arrangements. He said, if you get a bag and put them in the and wait till everybody leaves today, and you put them in the bag and you carry them out where nobody can see it, what's in the bag, and you come back in the morning and you're here 30 minutes early and you put them back in the cabinet before anybody gets here, then I'm giving you permission to take them. And I said, thank you. Thank you so much. I sincerely appreciate that. And that's what I did. And when I left that day, I went to a department store, kind of like Walmart of the old days. It was called Hills. That was not too far from the plant. And I walked in there and I bought two portable cassette decks. And I bought, some of you remember the bags of audio cassettes that you could buy for 99 cents. And I bought six of the 90-minute, two bags, three 90-minute audios in each bag. And I went home that night, and for the next 8, 9 hours, I put one audio in, push play. On the other cassette player, I push play and record. I know it's against the law, but at the time I didn't think about that. And I recorded the whole series in one sitting. The next day, I took them back. I got there 30 minutes early, like I told him I would, and they were back in the cabinet. And that was that. And that day was a crossroads in my life, and it put me on a path that I never could have anticipated because of this one wisdom of the ages statement. You're where you are in your life because of what's gone into your mind, and the only way to change where you are is to change what goes into your mind. So there's two factors in play here, guys. By the time we're 12 years old, most of our brain cell patterns have been created about who we are, what kind of person we are, what kind of athlete we are, how much we enjoy or don't enjoy reading, what kind of a friend we are, and so on and so forth. By the time we're 12 years old, we have programmed perceptions about life, relationships, so on and so forth. By the time we're 12, and these are created from primarily created three ways: from parents, the society that we're raised in, and authority figures. And I think about society. I've thought many times, how different would my life be if I'd been raised a puke orange Tennessee fan? Sorry, Tennessee fans. Or if I'd been raised in Boston and followed the Boston Red Sox instead of the Cincinnati Reds, who we defeated in the 70, and we defeated Boston in the 75 World Series. A lot of things. What if I'd been born in another country? So again, if you are listening to this and you live in a free enterprise system, you should be thankful. We all are, probably that's listening to this. But I was so thankful to be raised in small town America. I appreciate that the older I've become, but I didn't understand that when at the time. So there's two factors. Again, most of us act like if you view people as 12-year-olds, they make a whole lot more sense because again, brain cell patterns about who we are, about life, our potential, relationships are developed by the time we're 12. And then what we basically do from that point on is just reinforce whatever conclusion we came to during our first 12 years. And some of you I know have went through horrific childhoods. And I was so blessed I didn't. I had the greatest parents, have the greatest parents in the world. But some of you went through horrific childhoods. Some of you were raised in tremendously challenging environments. And some of you had great authority figures in your life, and some of you had terrible authority figures in your life. You know, my youngest daughter is a foster parent, and they just took on three brothers. And those kids, the oldest is 12, the youngest is 2, and they've been through horrific situations. And, so we all have to understand that, you know, we all have different paths. And at some point, we can decide to overcome and get through it, or we can wallow in it. We can just stay there and we can blame. And that's the easy thing to do. So, science has also confirmed that all of us have brain trenches, or what's commonly called, or I've always called brain cell patterns. So what happens is if we think we don't enjoy reading, then, and that's developed by the time we're 12, then we will just continue to reinforce that. Or if we think we're clumsy or not athletic or people don't like us or so on and so forth, and then we reinforce those the rest of our life. When something happens, we reinforce that negative, unproductive brain cell pattern. And when we really start wrapping our minds around this, we can change it. We can make all the difference in the world. So we do have brain cell patterns programmed individually in our minds, dependent upon parents, society, authority figures. But the other factor, the two factors, is brain cell patterns or trenches, and the other is we are all born with DNA designed to keep us safe, fight or flight, or freeze. And see, logic and reason plays no factor in these two things. If if we get if our subconscious mind feels like we're in a bad situation, then the instincts kick in, fight, flight, freeze, and we tend to avoid those feelings as much as we possibly can. And in this profession, you're going to have to expand your comfort zone to fulfill your upside potential. And what I really try to communicate to people is yes, you feel that way. All 27 percenters feel that way, but you can create new brain cell patterns, new trends, new automatic responses that are productive and not negative. So that's the next thing is it's just really understanding our subconscious is responsible for keeping us safe. That's what its job is, and it's doing a great job. Uh, so again, initial reaction, boom, kicks in, fear, flight, freeze. Reprogramming our subconscious brain is required to achieve our full potential. Required. We are where we are in our life because of what's gone into our mind. The only way to change where we are is to change what goes into our mind. So 99% of the population has not ever been taught or sowed on how to consciously, daily reprogram their mind. And I would ask you, have you? Has anybody ever taught you how to consciously, daily reprogram your mind? And you probably live in a natural state as everybody else with some level of fear of failure, some level of fear of rejection, some level of fear of being disappointed again, fear of change, fear of your efforts not working out or providing you what they hope you want to accomplish, that you're wasting your time. Uh, you get in a trap a lot of times of comparing yourself with those that are around you. And believe it or not, some people have fear of success. So these are very common. And people think, well, I'm different. No, you're not. You're not. This is normal, unfortunately. What's common and what people don't understand is with daily, consciously effort, all of these can be reprogrammed. And I know some of you have gone through our big course that are watching this, our Programming Your Mind program, and you know exactly what I'm talking about. You know, it's like, Dale, yeah, I still have moments of fear of rejection, but not near the way that I once did, and I'm overcoming that, and I'm creating a new brain cell pattern where I have no fear of rejection, no fear of failure, never fear of being disappointed again because I understand success is impossible without failure. There is a yin and a yang, and it's not disappointed. You know, yeah, maybe I did spend a lot of time, energy, and effort, but you know what? I learned something along the way. You never ask how much you're making, only what am I becoming? And yes, Dale, I used to have all kinds of fear of change, but now I don't because I've learned how to listen to the right mentors. I've learned how to listen to the right people. And I don't listen to people that are just trying to tell me what I want to hear so they can sell me what they want to sell me. I listen to the right people, uh, and so on and so forth. All of these are common. You're not any different than most people. 97% of the population have these fears and these challenges, but through reprogramming your mind, they can be overcome without question. Without question. I mean, it's not even debatable from a scientific standpoint and from a practicality standpoint because I've done it and I've seen other people and helped other people do it as well. You know, social media is full of logic and reason everywhere, every day. A lot of logic, a lot of wisdom, a lot of reason. This is one that you see quite often, and I love our man Einstein here. And Einstein said insanity is doing the same thing over and over, expecting different results. And in the network marketing profession, you know, that's in life, but I really over the last 4 or 5 years have seen this within leaders in this profession to a level that's astounding. It's just astounding because it's easier to do that which is comfortable for them over and over than growing, learning, changing, tweaking, and doing that which will create real teams, real customers, and long term results. It's just easier to go in the marketplace for some people like a bull in a china closet and convince a couple of people that can't tell you no to join your team or buy your product. But duplication will never happen that way. It's not going to happen. But we all see it and we all understand it. But the truth is limiting beliefs that we need them at some level because they keep us safe and secure, but also delusional and miserable. And limiting beliefs are just like in concrete, in brick, in stone in our minds. And a lot of times we don't see them in ourselves because they're a belief. You know, if if anything that's happening is somebody else's fault, that's a limiting belief. And all of us have gone through major disappointments in life and business, all of us. But it's how we choose to look at those and determine, you know, what happens from that point forward. You know, we all know people that, you know, went through divorces 30, 35, 40 years ago and it's dictated the course of their entire life from that point on. Everything's surrounded and focused on that, and they cannot get past it. Last week I was having lunch with a good leader in network marketing, and we had good conversations. Respect this guy a lot, and I'll share this story. I won't mention any names, but I'll share the story. Um, he was a twin, and when he was 8 years old, uh, his brother got invited to this kid's birthday party, and he didn't. His twin brother did, and he said, and he knew the kid's name. He said is the kid's name, and he said, "We'll just call him Johnny Jones." And he said, "I was Johnny Jones's friend. My brother wasn't his friend. I was the one that hung out with Johnny Jones. I ate lunch with Johnny Jones at school, and you know." I was Johnny Jones' friend, and he didn't invite me. He invited my brother, my twin brother. And he said, so from that point on in my life, I reinforced over and over and over the thought process: I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough. And he said it wasn't till I could trace that back and understand that situation and then talk to my brother about it that I was able to work past that and reprogram my mind and start saying, I am good enough. I can do anything I want to do. And again, it was very interesting because this guy's done extremely well in the profession, but recognizing that limiting belief is something that is valuable for everybody listening to this webinar to really spend some time there and really get a wrap around it. And because once you understand it, then you can overcome it. Once you understand it, then you can overcome it. So the foundational truth is, as a man thinketh, or a woman, but as we thinketh in our heart, so he is. As we think in our heart, so are we. What we think we are, we are. And it's, again, it's created when by the time we're 12 years old, by society, authority figures, parents, maybe traumatic experiences, but it just is what it is. It's the foundational truth. It's the foundational truth with every self-help book ever written. The classics, Psycho-Cybernetics, The Magic of Thinking Big, Think and Grow Rich, the classics, and every Wisdom of the Ages book that's ever been written is we speak our world into existence. And one thing I really wanted to make sure that I mentioned for all our members is speak to yourself as if it's already happened. I know many of you are looking forward to and thinking about and dreaming about your path and where you're going. And what will take that to the next level is if you do take the time daily to see yourself already there and experience that. Your conscious mind and your subconscious mind cannot tell the difference between reality and that which is visually thought about. And there's all kinds of documentation, again, as many of you have known and seen, in the regular program in your mind, the big package that, the different psycho-cybernetics talks about. Took two groups of kids uh, and monitored their free throw percentages. And then they had one group that practiced free throws daily for 30 days. And they had another group that mentally dreamed about it. They would lay back and they would see themselves at the free throw line, dribble the ball, and then shoot it and watch it go in. And then they monitored them on an actual basketball court on the free throw line like 30 days later. And the people that had visually went through the routine but had not actually physically practiced, their increase in percentage was greater than those that actually physically practiced. And all kinds of other uh, very fascinating, very fascinating experiments have been done. So it is truth, it is wisdom, and it is the foundation. And you can choose to make it part of your life in all aspects, your business, your family, everything. There's 7 key areas of life: mental, physical. I'm not going to go into them now, but I mean, but the bottom line, we're talking business, so you can choose to make it part of you, or you can say, oh, that's not true. The truth is, you are in your life because of what's gone into your mind, the decisions that you've made. The thoughts in your mind create the decisions. So you are where you are in your life because of what's gone into your mind, and the only way to change where you go is to change what goes into your mind. And what I hope that you will do is just really ask yourself, if you do you really believe this? Do you believe do you believe it? Do you believe what was written about in Think and Grow Rich and the Magic of Thinking Big and Proverbs and Psycho-Cybernetic? Do you believe that? Do you really believe it? And I will tell you that scientifically what's happened is we all have multiple beliefs, and brain cell patterns. We have beliefs and brain cell patterns about what kind of spouse we are, what kind of father we are, what kind of mother we are, what kind of brother-in-law we are, sister-in-law we are, what kind of neighbor we are, what kind of driver we are, what kind of reader we are, how how politically aware we are, uh, how physically fit we are, and so on and so forth. We all have brain cell patterns and beliefs about every aspect of life, every aspect of life. And the only way to improve is to change our thought processes. Because if if like, well, I've been 20 pounds overweight my whole life, and I'm just going to live my life as someone that's 20 pounds overweight, then that's right. And as long as that's your belief and your brain cell pattern, then absolutely you will do in your life, you will make sure that that becomes a reality. One of the stories I've like to share and talk about, an example, is Clumsy Johnny. And uh, Johnny was, your normal 6, 7-year-old kid, and Johnny uh, was had one of his friends over, Billy, and they were just playing around, in the basement and upstairs in Johnny's room, and just being kids. And Billy, who knew that you're not allowed to play in the living room. There's some uh, family heirlooms in there, and we can play anywhere we want, but the rule is we cannot play in the living room. And Billy knew that, and Johnny really knew that because it's Johnny's home. And, they're getting ready to go from the basement to upstairs, and on the way up, Billy just kind of jumps in the front part of the living room, and then he jumps out. And Johnny's saying, Billy, we can't play in here. Come on, let's go upstairs. And Billy jumps in the living room again. And Johnny says, Billy, we're not allowed to play in the living room. We got to go upstairs or downstairs. And then Billy grabs Johnny's hands and starts pulling him in the living room. And Johnny's resistant. He's resistant. He's resistant. And Johnny's pulling him back out of the living room. And then Billy just slingshots himself out of Johnny's hands, runs into the coffee table, hits it hard, and knocks over his grandmother's, Johnny's grandmother's antique vase, which his mom had received in the estate, and it crashes into hundreds of pieces all over the living room hardwood floor. Mom hears it. She runs in there. She says, Johnny, I told you and told you you're not allowed to play in here. You're the clumsiest kid in the world. She starts crying because the vase is gone. And she says, Billy, you go home. And Johnny, you go upstairs. And there's no supper for you tonight. And Johnny goes upstairs. And he's thinking, well, it wasn't my fault. I tried to get Billy out of the living room. He's the one that ran into the coffee table and broke it. And and that's what's going on in his mind. And then a few days later, his dad is painting a fence outside, and Johnny's just outside being a regular kid, and he comes running around the house, doesn't see his dad, kicks the paint can, paint goes everywhere, all over him, all over the ground. His dad cannot believe it. He was almost done. Johnny, you're the clumsiest kid in the world. What's wrong with you? Get in the house, have your mom clean you up, and don't come out here till I'm finished painting that fence. And, Johnny's thinking about it that night, and how could he have been so clumsy? And he didn't mean to run into the can. The last time he was out in the back, his dad was on the other side of the house. He didn't know he was on this side of the house. And all this is going through Johnny's brain. And then Johnny decides, I'm going to play Little League Baseball. And he gets up to bat for the very first time. And the pitcher winds up and throws the ball. And as Johnny tries to swing, his legs get tangled up. And he falls down. And he gets up. And he says to himself, I am clumsy. The rest of his life, when he has accidents or falls down or goes through the normal day-to-day activities of any 7, 8, 9, 10, 12-year-old kid, and he goes through those activities, in his mind, when he slips and he falls, in his mind, he reinforces over and over, I'm clumsy. I'm a clumsy kid. I'm clumsy. I can't hold on to anything. I'm a clumsy kid. I'm not athletic. I can't do this. I can't do that. And the brain cell pattern is developed. And that's in every aspect of life. If you've been around any self-made entrepreneurs very long, you've heard this wisdom of the ages principle from countless books, articles, speakers, training CDs. Haven't you? Everybody quotes Think and Grow Rich. Unfortunately, there's many people who've talked the talk because it's hard to argue with wisdom of the ages, but they've really never experienced this at the level that we're trying to help you understand exist. Just trying to help you understand a deep level of this understanding exists. I know I'm not sharing with you anything that anything new. I know that. However, knowing is not the answer. Knowledge without action leads to self-delusion. Wisdom, knowledge, proven scientific concepts does us no good if we don't say yes and accept them and take action. So, Dale, why is it so hard to take action? Well, fear. We have in our DNA programmed fight or flight or freeze. And it's to protect us. It's to protect us as human beings from saber-toothed tigers. Fight, flight, freeze. And really, anytime we have feelings of being uncomfortable, the program is fight, flight, or freeze. And what happens sometimes, we think, well, we can will or luck our way to success. We can just will it or luck our way. And maybe some can, but I can promise you most can't. And those that do will or luck their way to success end up with a whole different set of psychological limiting beliefs down the road. So, really understanding what you've been hearing in this month one of the success platform, really understanding, our conscious mind creates our behavior. Okay, whatever we're thinking in our conscious mind, fight, flight, being uncomfortable. But 90% of the decisions are instinctive, they're automatically made in our subconscious mind. Reason and logic plays very little in this whole equation. 2% of decisions are made in the conscious mind, but the subconscious mind is where motivation and excitement is ultimately created. Yes, we can go to an event, and in our conscious mind, you know, everybody can be dancing and singing and fired up in our conscious mind. And those of you who've been around this profession any time at all, how many times do we have to see this pattern over and over and over and over and over? Everybody leaves the event excited, fired up, going to make it happen in their conscious mind. And maybe they can go home and consciously hold on to focus and motivation for a few days, maybe even a few weeks. But ultimately, what's ever in our subconscious mind always takes over. Always takes over. And the thing that we really try to communicate is you can create your subconscious mind to the point where all you know is working daily towards your goals and dreams. It's just, it's just, it's easy because it's your program. It's easy because it's your program. That's where you can get to. That's exactly where you can get to. Yes, there's going to be challenges and life's going to happen and all of those things. But when they do happen, you're better prepared to deal with those situations. And and when you work through that life challenge, you're right back to where your programming is. I've always said life's going to happen, so run when you can run. And really understanding what's going on in your mind will pay great dividends. Really analyzing your own thoughts. So our conscious mind is what everybody thinks is where the game's played up here, but it's really played down here in our subconscious mind. All meaningful decisions are made on a subconscious level. Consistent action lives here. And when you can develop new brain cell patterns to where you're just constantly working towards worthy ideas and you're working daily and you're not wasting time and you're engaged, it makes all the difference in the world. And again, I know many of you know exactly what I'm talking about because you've experienced this. I know for that in many cases I'm speaking to the choir, but for some people this platform may be the first time that you've really been consciously daily engaging. And as you know, this month has all been about mindsets and really just accepting the reality that this is the way we are as human beings. So how we process information is real important. Some people can just hear it. Some people will hear this and try to disagree. And it's just fact, Adele, I don't believe anything you said. I said, all right, that's fine. And see, I don't get emotionally attached to it because I'm just relating what has been written about 50 years before I was here and longer. That's all that I really do. I'm just sharing the wisdom. That's all I do. I'm just sharing the wisdom and how it relates to your business. So your lack of belief, it's not in what I'm communicating, it's in what's been communicated many, many years again before I was even here. So I'm fine with that. And then some people hear, most people, a lot of people hear agree, and then they continue to do what they've always done the way they've always done it. Why? It's comfortable. It's more comfortable than change. And again, I see this in a lot of network marketing leaders. They know better, they understand, but it's easier to just keep talking about the foo-foo dust than it is challenging people to learn, grow, become all they can be. Again, as I wrote about in 2000, and the article was inspired greatness or cater to mediocrity. And listen, it's a whole lot easier just trying to keep people fired up and on auto ship one more month than it is saying, you know what, you got to change your brain cell patterns. You got to daily consciously program your mind for success. So I understand it, and it is what it is. Thankfully, many of you are on this path and are determined to stay on this path, and it's going to make unbelievable impact for you in all aspects, because some people will hear, agree, and then make radical change. Just boom, they just radical change in many areas of life. I mean, there's people that we've all read about and seen that were uh, obese and then just made a decision one day, never again, made radical change and totally changed their physique. Unfortunately, a lot of times what happens is they get totally out of balance, where everything in their world is centered around what they're eating, what they're not eating, how many clicks they got on their watch, whatever that is, how many steps they took, all that stuff. They're just obsessed with that, and you get real unbalanced. We'll probably talk about balanced living at some point down the road, but but you see that sometimes it's radical change, and I've seen radical change in network marketing. But the radical change that needs to occur in network marketing is is radically deciding not to waste time and to daily put the right stuff in your mind and then take action based upon the information. Take, it's not just the collection of knowledge, it's the ability to collect the knowledge and then take action on that knowledge. And different people have different time frames before that kicks in. I've seen people that I've worked with literally, not one on one, but been part of organizations that we work with, and maybe a year, 2 years, they've been around it and they're accepting it and they understand it, and then they go to an event and then it's like radical change. They get to a place, I call it getting to a place emotionally and psychologically that they've never been before. And really what I think kind of happens, and I don't have any documentation scientifically at this point to prove it, but I think when the new brain cell patterns that where they get through what I call the whirlpool, and they have totally new brain cell patterns and then they have the motivation kind of kicks the new brain cell patterns that they've been implementing just kind of kick in. So sometimes it is a radical change, and I really want to see that happen more, and talk to those people more, because it doesn't happen. It happens rarely, but I have seen it happen. But I've only seen it happen to people that were plugged in to the right books, tapes, audios, understood everything that we've talked about up to this point regarding self-talk, etc. So how most people are going to progress is they hear, agree, and make daily changes that lead to a totally new pattern and self-image. That's the best pattern. That's the most reliable way to ensure that you get all that you came into this profession for. And that's the way to ensure that you get the most from the 27 percenter success system and this platform. So the positive behavior you want the positive behavior you want that creates the positive results and growth that you want. For most people, it's not going to be a radical change. It's going to be eh, daily, daily information, focus, daily, daily, intentionally focusing on getting the right stuff in your mind. And the beautiful thing is, if you have trouble being consistent, that once the new brain cell patterns are developed, you know, they kick in, boom, and then as long as you continue to not let the old brain cell patterns, you know, because they're still there, you just have to suppress them by filling your mind with so many positive visions and empowering messages, and then you wake up every day and working towards your goals and dreams and ambitions. It becomes automatic. It's not something that you have to really, you know, will yourself to do. And guys, what I've said, I promise you, this is the way. This is the road. Just seen it way, 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 way too many times. If you persist, you will succeed. The prizes of life are at the end of each journey, not near the beginning. It is not given to me to know how many steps I must take in order to reach my goal. Success may lie just around the next bend in the road, but I will not know how close it lies unless I persist. I will persist until I succeed. And some of you know that's Augmandino. I wasn't planning on saying that, it just came. But I loved having that kind of good stuff programmed into my brain. So you're where you are in your life because of what's gone into your mind. The only way to change where you are is to change what goes into your mind. Your past doesn't have to equal your future unless you want it to. Today's the first day of the rest of your career, rest of your life. Uh, so what happened for me is uh, I, after 3 years of kind of learning this stuff by osmosis, I decided to daily consciously program my mind for success. And that's what I'm going to suggest for each of you. Daily consciously, 15 minutes a day. And then that happened my third year in the profession. And it was the foundation that led to everything awesome that came after that. And a few years later, what we did, this was our original course. We put this program together just for our team. Just for our team. And there's the OG book. And at that time, we had a custom done subliminal cassette tape. Today, we make a generic subliminal audio CD. But, because I went through that and then shared this course with our team, there was tens of thousands of lives, members on our team, who'll never be the same because they took this at a level of seriousness that I hope each and every one of you will. Here's just a couple of people that we shared this with. Brian's a pastor in Atlanta. He said, I thought I understood the truth. You become what you think about. I also thought I was putting this truth into practice on a daily basis. After listening to your program, Your Mind for Success, it took my understanding of this truth to a new higher level, but most of all, it showed me how to put this truth into practice on a daily basis. As I did, I immediately saw a change in my business. This is no doubt the most important material I've ever purchased. Winnie and Woody said, for anyone looking for their breakthrough in network marketing, direct sales, or life in general, Dale Calvert's Reprogramming the Subconscious Mind course is a tool you need to succeed. After over a year of struggling in the industry, I bought the course from Dale, followed the simple 10-minute daily exercises, and now work at a totally different level. I moved up 2 pen levels within a few months of starting Dale's 9-month program and know that I will be at the highest level in my company before the 9 months is over. So it's 15 minutes a day for 9 months, and the reason it's 9 months is because of the Augmendino book that's included in the scrolls, which I'm not trying to get into all that now. But she said this program is worth thousands of dollars and will make every other book, CD, and seminar event training event work. Without this program, you might as well not use or attend any other self-development books or CDs or seminars. Dell teaches you to fix your mind so that the success offered in all entrepreneurial training can actually take effect. See, that's why we're starting with this month one, guys. This is a must-have for anyone who wants to break out and live his or her life at the highest level possible. Stop the self-sabotage and struggling, and get this now. This is my friend Michael. Michael said after watching Programming Your Mind for Success training that you did over 10 years ago, it changed everything for me. It inspired me to write a journal entry, changed my entire life, not to mention my business. 18 months ago, I had that revelation. Since then, there have been thousands to join my organization, and my wife and I are financially free. It can only come after the reprogramming process. The past weekend, I shared that journal entry with a crowd of almost 3,000 people. It was the best speech I've ever done, and there were few dry eyes in the house. After all the adversity we've been through, and the thousands of people that have quit, lied, and tried to bring us down in the industry, we finally made it to the top. It would never happen without you. Thanks again. Give my warmest regards to your family. That's just an unsolicited email I got. And I got plenty of these guys. So I'm sharing that with you to share that this is serious. So why did I decide consciously to daily program my mind for success? Well, I was 23 years old, and after hearing the wisdom of the ages for 3 years, at different events and cassettes and stuff, I'd learned a lot through osmosis, just from, but not consciously really focusing. But I learned a lot because I'm like most network marketers, show me how to recruit somebody. And then I made the conscious decision to consciously, intentionally, daily program my mind for success. And I'll tell you why I did it. And it's really why I'm so excited about the 27%er success system, because it's set up for daily engagement. And I just understand the power behind daily intentionally engagement, and it has a lot of other factors going for it as well, with the gamification aspect and the support that members get from each other. It's just cool. So, but here's what happened for me. I was at an event in Ohio, and the speaker's name was Pat Worley. Don't ever know what happened to Pat Worley. But the topic, his talk, was attitude and goal setting. And he talked during that training about a book called Subliminal Subduction. And you can't find it now. I mean, it's out of print. It's outrageous to buy. And those of you that have gone through our regular Programming Your Mind program, I've gotten to major detail on this. But this is what really put me over. And what is subliminal advertising? And it's a noun, and it's the use of advertising of images and sounds to influence consumers' response without their being conscious of it. And he got into this in this training, and I'm thinking to myself, oh my gosh, if Wall Street And corporate America is using subliminal advertising to promote their products and services to penetrate consumers' subconscious minds, then there's got to really be something to this. Now, that was my thought process when I left the seminar that day. Uh, and, I've since then have done tremendous amount of research on all of this, and it just is what it is. It's just true. We live in Georgia, and Coca-Cola is one of the most prolific companies that uses subliminal advertising and has for years. Disney, and the list goes on and on. Again, uh, I, I get into a lot more detail and will for you guys at some point. But just an example, the birth of subliminal advertising as we know it dates back to 1957 when market researcher named James Bakari inserted the words "eat popcorn," "hungry," "eat popcorn," and "drink Coca-Cola" into a movie. This was back in the 50s. And the words appeared for a single frame, long enough for the subconscious to pick it up, but too short for the viewer to be aware of it. Couldn't even see it consciously, but it would flash up. And the subliminal ads created an 18.1% increase in Coke sales and a 57.8 increase in popcorn sales. Think about that. You couldn't even see it, but your subconscious did. 18.1 increase in Coke sales, 57.8% increase in popcorn sales. So that's that day when I left that seminar, I said, I have got to really focus on this. And I hope that's where you guys are, what you guys are feeling. So Dale, where do I start? Well, the daily engagement with the 27%er success system platform. Daily. And I think the other thing is, I asked earlier, do you believe this is true? And if it is, you have to accept this wisdom as truth. And when you start blaming somebody else or something or circumstances, you just have to stop and say, you know what? How can I make the most out of this? What can I learn from this? And I will tell you, it's not the books that you read, it's not the audios that you listen to, the events, or even logging onto the platform daily and engaging with other people. Really, the secret to reprogramming, the secret, the absolute secret. And Dr. Shad Helmstetter wrote about it years ago. I've recommended this book to thousands of people. But it's what you say when you talk to yourself. That's it. It's monitoring and understanding and being aware of your self-talk, because our self-talk creates brain cell patterns that tell us exactly how to act and when to fight, when to flight, and when to freeze. And they're there to protect us, but they're not there to create success, and they're not there to help us create the activities that will lead towards success in all aspects in every area of life. So the only way to change, the only way, the only way, only way is to create new brain cell patterns. Zig told us, you are in your life because of what's gone into your mind. The only way to change where you are is to change what goes into your mind. And I'm sure there may be a few 70%ers that get in on this webinar and this platform. And, you think, well, Dale, when are you going to talk to me about marketing? I sound like myself my first 3 years. When are you going to teach me how to close people? And all this other stuff. And I'm here to communicate to you today. And, I've been very strong. That's why every day, the first 30 days, you get a new video. Now, down the road, it'll be like 2 videos a week. But the first 30 days, I know that understanding and accepting this is the foundation, the rock on which you can build your 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 fortune in any business, but especially network marketing, because systems without the courage to implement them provide no value for your team. You can teach them about funnels and social media marketing and text marketing and Pinterest advertising and thousands of other different ways that will create leads. And then what you do when you create those leads and how to follow up on those leads and how not to waste your time with the wrong people and on and on and on. But systems without the courage to implement them provide no value to your team. And I'm just not going to, that's not going to happen on my watch. It's not going to be because I didn't share what I knew to be true. It's not going to be the reason. I can't implement for you, but I can share what I know to be true. I can share wisdom. So my morning routine, and I would think that you want to create a morning routine, or at least a routine where you're daily logging on to the 27 percenter success system. Review your top 3 reasons as if they've already been accomplished. Uh, we teach a concept in Programming Your Mind called My Perfect Day. And this is not the 27% success system is not a Programming Your Mind for Success program. It's based upon network marketing, and we're just trying to give you the foundation. But I'll give you a brief description of my perfect day. It's just, all right, if you were going to live a perfect day right now, write it down. What would you do when you get up? Where would you eat? Where would you go? Who would you be with? What would the day look like? And write it down and let it in, my first perfect day I ever wrote ended in the hot tub. So what would yours look like? And then recite daily, read your perfect day. And after you lived it, then you get to write another one, and then another one, and then another one. Because success is living your life working towards worthy goals. Once you reach those goals, you're no longer a success unless you set new goals. So it's ongoing. It's ongoing. So that's what my perfect day is. And then 20 affirmations. There's been a lot of information in the market about affirmations. Again, you write them as though they've already happened. I read for years. I'm so excited to be on the plane on our way on our way to our first family vacation in Hawaii. Can't wait to be spending the next 2 weeks at the Ritz-Carlton Hotel in Maui. And I read that for years before it ever happened, but it did. It did. So affirmations. And when we start people in Programming Your Mind for Success, a book that we recommend that you can buy on Amazon. It's called The Greatest Secret in the World by Og Mandino. And he gives you a scroll to read every day for nine months, every day for 9 months. And, we also have the custom subliminal audio CD and other cool stuff. But I wanted to give you things to think about by developing a routine or that includes a lot of mindset programming in your daily routine. And again, when you get your mind right, then the activities become easy. When you really get focused about why you're doing what you're doing. All those are either focusing on the work or the why. The work or the why. But just to keep emails from coming, programmingyourmind.com. You can go over there to learn more. I only open this like in December once a year. That's all I do. It's the most expensive course we have. Uh, it's not for everybody. I'm not trying to pitch you on it at all. I'm just trying to save myself some emails and answering questions. Programming Your Mind for programmingyourmind.com. Uh, and there's nothing that's not there that there's nothing you can send me an email that won't be answered there. Uh, so that's it, guys. The morning routine. That's what I want you to think about. And again, we this month have just been trying to reinforce wisdom of the ages. We wanted you to see what Jim Carrey and Morgan Freeman and so on and so forth have said about what focusing on the right things and writing down why they're doing what they're doing, what it's meant to them in their life, because it is the magic. Now, it ain't the foo-foo dust. Okay, knowledge without action leads to self-delusion. But this is wisdom of the ages. It was here before any of us. It will be here long after us, and it is the reason self-made people move forward in the 7 key areas of life. It is. It absolutely is. So I hope you benefited and got inspired from this, and you'll put some of this information into action. Again, I want to personally just thank you. I can't even thank you enough ever. I can't, for being part of this movement. Uh, Building people on your team so we can help people build their business and really get the wisdom into the marketplace, sharing it with other people, and watching the impact they're going to have on their life simply because you took the time to share this platform. Uh, Again, I am beyond fired up about it. I'm so thankful to be a part of it at this point in time in my career, and I cannot wait to see each of you continue to maximize your upside leadership potential and continue to grow, learn, move forward, and make an impact on other people. Thank you again. I'll talk to you next month on next month's webinar, and I'll probably be talking to you tomorrow at some point through the Network Marketing Magazine's 27% Success membership. Have a great one. Thanks you for listening. God bless.